exploring the world. He's driving around. He's walking and he's climbing, hoping not to fall back down. It's Ritty's adventures. It's Ritty's adventures. It's Ritty's adventures. So, I'm in Launceston. Been a couple of days since I've done a video, and I'm now at the museum because there's $3 all-day parking. And I just had a shower, which was amazing. It was free at the town hall, of all places. But it was my first one in 3 days. That's what was amazing. So that mountain climb was amazing. The view incredible, and I made it down safely. In fact, I made it down in an hour and 22 minutes. So it was only 2 minutes slower than going up. But yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I actually did quite well. The places where I thought I'd struggle, took it easy, and yeah, it was fine. And the other parts, which may have taken longer to get up, were quicker to get down. So overall, yeah, about the same time. So I'm pretty happy with that. Bought myself a badge to put on my hat, which I haven't put on yet. But they didn't have any appropriate ones, really, so I had to buy that, which is close enough. Like, the mountains that are in there are the ones next to it, not the one I climbed. But yeah, that night I camped somewhere in the National Forest, which meant that my permit for that 24 hours covered the costs. It was friendly beaches, and I camped next to a lovely German couple. Now, he actually suggested an app for me for camping, which meant that for the next few days I found either free or really cheap quality camping. So yes, that worked out quite well. They were lovely. They were going to see me off in the morning, but I slept in again. Fucking alarm. Issues with it. I've sorted it though. So yeah, that morning I then, once I eventually got up, went back to the national park and just did the lookout path, just so I can see where all the tourists were going. It was busy, obviously. Then as I was leaving Coles Bay to head north to the waterfalls, I came across something in the sky that I just didn't know what it was. I think it's similar to the Aurora Borealis or whatever, where it's like solar flares in the sky causing colours or something in the atmosphere, something or other. Because Marty, who I met in Hobart, told me that that is a thing in Tasmania. So I pulled over, took photos of that. Other people pulled over. When I took off again, there was some other people pulled over ahead, and I'm like, oh, that's fine. But then I saw a car was pretty much parked in the middle of the road, not in the line, like the lines, but in the middle of the lane for heading out of Coles Bay. So I pulled over and went up to help them and found they had a flat tyre. Turns out the jack that they're meant to have, they don't have. And the other person who had to help had a really shitty jack. So I got the jack out of this van. Helped them swap over to the spare. As we were allowing it, the spare had no air in it, so it just came straight off the rim. So they made a phone call to someone, which didn't help at all, so I drove. There was 3 people. So there was an Irish guy and 2 Italian women. They're all here on working visas. So I then drove one of them to get the tyre filled up. The nearest town, not Coles Bay, but at the south a little bit, Can't remember the names. I'll show it on a map if I feel like it. And then I drove them back. They really appreciated it, so they took me to lunch, and as they knew I was travelling north, they went north to the nearest town, which had really wonderful beaches. So they bought me lunch, we talked for a while, and then they were going to go to the beach anyway, so they were happy for me to join them. They were like, yeah, we'll go for a swim, so I got ready, went in to the water because they were too scared. Fuck, it was cold. But they didn't get in. Bitches. Anyway, got in, had a swim, then I laid down and sunbaked with them for a while, and then parted ways. I then got recommendations from them to go to another national park, but I drove there, and the fact that it costs to enter that park, I decided to just continue up north to get closer to the waterfalls. And I camped in St. Helens, which was a free camping ground, thanks to that app. Then the next day, left there, and where else did I feel like there's somewhere else I went. Let's have a look. No, St. Mary's, sorry, I stayed at St. Mary's. And then I stopped off at a Lions Park in St. Helens to have a cup of coffee by the beach. I then made it to the waterfalls and spent a little bit of time taking photos on the way down. Spent a bit of time just standing there taking photos and waiting for other people to finish before I then slowly walked back up and almost caught photos of some animals. So I spent a bit longer trying to get photos of animals in the bushes, but they kept on being scared off, so no luck on that one. Then I went to, because that was near the area, Pyengana or something like that. So I saw a couple other things, which was the Pyengana dairy farm. So I did cheese tastings and had lunch there. And there was also the pub in the park, which is where you can feed a pig beer. But I just sat by myself having a beer. I then made the drive to Launceston, where I stayed at a place called Old Mac's Farm, which is only $10 for the night. So I'll probably stay there again tonight. Which then pretty much brings us to today, where I got up, drove around the city for a little bit, went to the information centre to find a decent park. They said here at the museum for $3 for the whole day. and I then went to the town hall and got a shower. And now I'm looking at getting my clothes washed, because I have a bag full and I'm running out. So that is today's plan, is to look at going to getting them washed somewhere, and maybe museum, or there's Jamesburg brewery here, except they don't have any tours available today or tomorrow. That's next week, which I won't be here. So I am looking at, however, the oldest brewery, which is Cooper's, and looking at their website, their bookings, they even have free today, and the 8th, which I fly out on the 9th, the 8th they have like 22 availability, so I'll probably keep an eye on it over the next few days and book it closer to, so that way I know what day I'm actually going to be there. But yeah, I'll probably just wander around the city. I've already seen a few things I'm going to get photos of, so get clothes washed, go around the city, maybe go to the museum here, and there's probably a few other things as well I can do in the city. There's like a gorge, there's tram lines here which they do some walk or tours on, there's a free bus or something into the city, even though I'm like 10 minutes walk. So lots to do. So yeah, on with it.